The executive boyfriend I matched with on a dating app got me into a guaranteed virtual investment scheme. He sweet-talked and wore me down until I poured my entire 1 million yuan dowry into it. But the very next day, when I opened the app, a message popped up. Unable to connect to server. I was completely lost. Thinking it was just a routine app update, I quickly messaged my perfect boyfriend on WeChat to ask what was going on. But instead of a reply, I was blocked with a glaring red exclamation mark. Realizing the platform had completely vanished, I rushed to the cybercrime unit to report the scam. But after checking his IP address, the police told me flat out, this was a classic romance scam. I was totally devastated. We had literally just picked out names for our future kids. But no matter how many chat logs I gave them, that man had completely vanished off the face of the earth. When my coworkers found out, they started rumors, saying I was gold digging and got what I deserved. Even my boss found a cheap excuse to fire me. Pushed to the brink by severe depression, I took a whole bottle of sleeping pills. Even in death, I was consumed by rage. How could my absolute trust cost me everything I owned? But when I opened my eyes again, I had traveled back in time to the exact moment that executive sent me a friend request. This time, I'm playing the ultimate player. I will drain this entire scam syndicate completely dry. Hello, I'm Joe Mingwan, a premium member recommended by the matchmaking platform. In my past life, this fake, perfect catch was his constant sweet daily texts and forged investment earnings screenshots. Slowly bled me dry of my entire dowry, 1 million yuan. The hard-earned money I saved up over 10 long years. On the day the platform shut down, I desperately went to the police, only to be told it was a classic pig butchering scam, operated entirely from overseas. My coworkers gossiped that I was just desperate to marry rich, and my boss kicked me out using some lame excuse. I died with so much hatred in my heart. Why did my pure, honest love have to end in absolute ruin? Taking a deep breath and slowly letting it out. Now that I have a second chance, I refuse to be a lamb led to the slaughter. I tap accept. He replies instantly. Hello, Miss Sue. It's a pleasure to meet you. I've looked over your profile, and I think we're a perfect match. I'm 32 years old, working as an executive at an investment bank. My work keeps me pretty busy, so I'm hoping to find a steady girl to spend the rest of my life with. The same old opening line. A flawless persona. In my past life, I was so anxious to please, replying with a massive paragraph introducing myself. This time, I can't even be bothered to type. I open my gallery and find a candid photo of a woman's back. I took it in my past life while running errands for my boss at an auction. In the photo, a woman in a stunning evening gown is holding up a bidding paddle. The background features a priceless antique vase. I hit send. Then I quickly follow up with a message. Busy bidding. No small talk, please. The other side falls into a bizarre 5-minute silence. I let out a cold sneer. To those bloodsuckers, hiding in the scam compounds of northern Myanmar, a prey they thought was a helpless little lamb, suddenly flaunting mind-blowing wealth, is more irresistible than any bait in the world. 5 minutes later, his message pops up. My apologies, Miss Sue. Pardon my intrusion. I didn't realize you were a true connoisseur. I've been keeping an eye on today's soon-to-be spring auction myself. That Chengpua Dokai chicken cup is indeed a masterpiece worth acquiring. You have impeccable taste, sophisticated, cultured, and deeply romantic, with a high IQ to boot. He's testing the waters, trying to probe my background. I casually toss my phone onto the sofa. For 2 whole hours, I don't reply to a single message. My phone screen lights up, then goes dark and lights up again. Miss Sue, are you still busy? Has the bidding wrapped up? Did you secure any treasures? Honestly, I quite enjoy collecting calligraphy and paintings myself. We should definitely catch up and chat about it sometime. I pick up a glass of red wine, lounging on the balcony's deck chair, and finally send back a voice message. My voice sounds lazy and aloof. I just finished handling my late ex-husband's estate. I'm absolutely exhausted. Honestly, looking at those dusty old antiques just gives me a headache. I just took that photo for fun. Mr. Joe, if you're looking for a simple, stable girl to settle down with, then we are definitely not a match. I'm newly divorced, and I have way too much cash lying around. I feel so empty inside. I just want a little excitement. You're so genuine, Mrs. Sue. To be honest, settling down is just what we tell outsiders. At our level, who doesn't crave a soul connection and a little thrill? He's hooked. For the next 3 days, I played hard to get. If he sent 10 messages, I'd only reply to 1. He'd share photos of high-end galas, and I'd just fire back with a video of me out on a private yacht. Finally, he couldn't help himself. He threw out the bait that made me lose everything in my past life. When I have an insider investment opportunity. It was originally reserved for a few major clients. But I see you've been stressed about managing your funds lately. Why don't you put some in to test the waters? Principal and interest are guaranteed, and the daily returns are incredibly high. Right after that, he sent over a link. I opened the poorly made, yet well-disguised app interface, and spread. And the fine icon showed that the door molest. Sure, Let's play around first. Without a second thought, I transferred 100,000 right in. Early the next morning, the app showed a profit of 5,000. Joe Mingwen sent over a smug emoji. How is it, 1-1? See? I didn't lie to you. This is just a small taste. If you increase your investment, the returns will be way beyond your imagination. I stared at the balance of 105,000, my eyes cold as ice. I clicked withdraw. Withdraw all. 2 minutes later, a text from my bank popped up. 105,000 received. I didn't hesitate for a single second. I transferred the money straight into my other secure card. I'm not just going to string him along, I'm going to completely screw him over. This hunt has only just begun. At 12 noon,
Joe Mingwen's call came through.
I pressed answer and casually turned on the recorder. 1-1. I've looked over the documents. There's absolutely no problem. You're amazing. As soon as this 50 million comes in, I guarantee I'll double it within a month. His voice was buzzing with excitement. I leaned back in my chair, but my voice instantly went cold. Ming Yuan, do you think I have more money than brains? He froze on the other end.
1-1, how could you say that?
How could I ever think of you like that? In our circle, doing business is all about showing your capabilities. My finger tapped lightly on the desk, my tone arrogant and leaving no room for question. You want to handle my 50 million? Sure, but why should I trust that a low-level investment bank executive like you actually has what it takes to handle that kind of cash? First, deposit 500,000 into my personal account as a security deposit. I'll only keep this money for 3 days. Once my trust fund is unfrozen in 3 days, I'll return it to you with interest. The other end of the line went dead. Silent, leaving only the sound of heavy breathing. For a scam compound, $500,000 was completely unheard of. Normally, it's only the victims who send the money. Since when does a scammer pay the victim first? 1-1, that's not how it works. All my funds are tied up in projects right now, so I can't pull out that much cash on such short notice.
主名铭文射上的散文
Trying to bypass it with his usual script. Then you just don't have what it takes. I let out a soft laugh, my tone dripping with mockery. If you don't have what it takes, don't go trying to land a sugar mama. Goodbye, Mr. Joe. I hung up decisively,
opened WeChat
and found the chat with the goldfish profile picture. With a click, I blocked them, done in one smooth motion. So you want to sink your teeth into my 50 million? Well, you'll have to bleed a little first.
1-1, why did you withdraw all the funds?
Joe Mingwen's voice call popped up.
His voice was dripping with anxiety. I tossed my phone onto the coffee table, lowered my voice, and made sure to sound a little drunk and aggrieved. It's only 100,000. Barely enough to buy a bag. It's not even worth getting excited about. Ringgran, I'm in a terrible mood today. Those bloodsuckers from my ex-husband's family came to harass me again? Instantly, the other end went dead silent. After half a minute, Joe Mingwen's voice message came through again. This time, his voice was incredibly gentle. 1-1, ignore those people. You have me now. Is the trust fund really that large? If you trust me, I can help you do a comprehensive asset planning, guaranteeing they won't get a single penny of it. I sneered. He fell for it. 50 million is getting unfrozen next week, I said. I sniffled on purpose, letting out a soft sob. A helpless woman like me holding so much money. I have absolutely no idea what to do with it. Renjua, you know so much about investing. Since you're so good at this, how about I give myself and all my money to you from now on? To a scam park in northern Myanmar. 50 million is a nuclear bomb.
王晃, don't you worry.
I'll make sure to manage this money perfectly for you. We'll buy our own big house in the future and have 2 adorable children. This 50 million is our security for the future. His voice was literally shaking. To make this 50 million bait look as realistic as possible, I opened my laptop. In my past life, I was a senior financial controller for 8 years. I knew every loophole in asset certifications and capital verification reports like the back of my hand. I spent the entire night using a shell company registered overseas. I forged a flawless set of documents showing my offshore trust fund was being unfrozen, along with fake transaction records for my personal offshore account. And every single screenshot and every official seal could withstand the closest scrutiny. I packaged them all up and hit send.
Yingwan, here's my proof of funds.
The money will hit my personal account next Wednesday, and once it does, I'll transfer everything into your platform. After sending the message, the other side fell into a dead silence for 2 whole hours. I could easily picture what was happening. Zhu Mingyingwan was probably handing all this data over to his compound's tech chief. A whole room of them would be huddling around a screen, trying to verify if they were real. On the first day after I blocked Zhou Mingwan, I knew that scam compound thousands of miles away in northern Myanmar had completely erupted in chaos. What do scammers fear most? Watching a sure thing slip right through their fingers, especially when that sure thing is carrying 50 million in cold, hard cash. After work, I logged into another social media account I set up specifically to bait them. I posted a carefully crafted update, setting my location at Hong Kong International Airport. showing a first-class ticket and the edges of 2 passports. Less than half an hour after I posted it, my phone started blowing up with security alerts about unknown IPs trying to breach the firewall of my social media account. I sneered as I watched the lines of code jumping across my computer screen. This was a trap I'd paid a fortune to a top ethical hacker friend to set up. To check if I was actually emigrating with all that wealth, the scam syndicate was bound to use hackers to dig into my background. On the screen, my defense system had intentionally left a backdoor open. I picked up my coffee and calmly watched the progress bars fill up as they slowly breached it. Then, my official anti-scam channel released a long video. I didn't show my face in the video. It just played recordings of Chen Zi's scam scripts, screenshots of his fake persona, logs of their cyber attacks, and audio clips of other victims pleading for help. At the end, I clearly exposed the division of labor and tactics of this new compound in northern Myanmar, right down to the identities of their ringleaders. Within an hour of posting, the video broke 10 million views, shooting straight to the #1 trending spot. Khaled's devastated families flooded the comments section with their heartbreaking stories. Netizens immediately reported him to the cyber police and bombarded Chen Zi, spamming him with non-stop messages and voice calls. His tone instantly shifted from arrogant to absolute panic. "What the hell do you want?" "Delete the video." I only replied with one sentence. "It's time to pay back what you owe the victims." While public outrage was boiling over, I submitted the complete chain of evidence to the Cyber Police Division. As soon as Captain Lee saw the data, he reported it up the chain of command. An international joint law enforcement operation was launched. 3 days later, the official report was released. The joint operation between Chinese and Myanmar police successfully shut down a massive new telecom fraud compound in northern Myanmar. They arrested 217 suspects and froze over 100 million yuan in illicit funds. On the news screen, handcuffed scammers were escorted out, one by one.
陈泽恒是海头。
His eyes filled with utter despair. Watching the TV, I calmly took a sip of my tea. 1 rebirth. 2 perfect counterstrikes. Old K, my red hacker friend, sent an encrypted message. "Sister Wan, the fish took the bait." They saw the countdown interface you faked for the offshore account. A smirk played on my lips. A line of gold-embossed English letters was prominently displayed on that countdown screen. Time remaining to unfreeze 50 million yuan. 48 hours. If a domestic receiving account is not linked before the deadline, the funds will automatically return to the family trust and remain frozen for 5 years. This countdown was a death sentence for the scammers. For 2 whole days, I didn't make a single move. The Zhou Mingwen and the compound supervisor behind him. These 48 hours were absolute torture, like being roasted over a slow fire. Suddenly, my phone vibrated. A bank text popped up. XX bank notification. At 14:05, 500,000 yuan was transferred into your account ending in 8848. Your current balance. I stared at that string of zeros, my heart suddenly racing. 500,000? They actually sent the money. In the history of pig butchering scams, this was an unprecedented miracle. To catch this 50 million yuan big fish, the compound supervisor had clearly made the executive call, forcing Xiao Mingwen to put up his own money to bait me. Old K sent a voice message. "Sister Wan, that was a brutal move." I backtracked their IP address. This money was transferred from an underground bank in northern Myanmar. The kid probably borrowed money from the loan sharks inside the compound, the kind where you borrow 9 and have to pay back 13. If this deal falls through, he'll end up carved up for parts. I just coldly smirked, thinking, serves you right. I quickly opened my online banking app, without a single shred of hesitation, and transferred all $500,000 directly into the anti-fraud account already set up by the cyber police. The exact moment I hit confirm, I let out a long, deep sigh of relief. In my past life, they scammed me out of $1 million. This 500,000 is just the interest. I calmly opened WeChat, taking my sweet time, and unblocked my little goldfish. The second I unblocked him, dozens of desperate messages flooded my screen. One. I sent the money.
Mom, please talk to me.
I had to take out a high-interest loan to scrape it together. Are you still there? The countdown is almost over. I held down the voice message button, making my voice sound as sweet and cloying as possible. "Oh, honey, you're amazing. I knew you were a real man who could get things done. I got the money. And I'm already getting ready to link your platform account." He replied instantly with a voice message, Zhou Mingwen's voice cracking with sheer hysteria. "That's incredible, Wan. Hurry up and link it. Transfer the $50 million in. We're finally going to be financially free." I paused for 3 seconds, suddenly letting a trace of hesitation slip into my voice. "But, honey, there's a slight issue with the large international transfer. I might need you to do me one more small favor tomorrow." Zhou Mingwen's desperation had reached the point of utter madness. One. What the hell went wrong? Tell me, quick. I'm literally losing my mind here. I sat in my living room, messing up my hair until it looked like a wild, chaotic nest, and squeezing my eyes shut until they were bloodshot and red. Then I slammed the video call button. The moment it connected,
Joe Ingeman's face appeared on the screen, tense.
and eyes completely bloodshot. With panic, behind him was nothing but a cold, bare white wall, but his rapid breathing and shifty eyes completely betrayed his panic.
梦华，我是王。
Why are you crying? I cover my face, my shoulders shaking violently as heavy tears splat against the screen. Bingwen, it's over. It's all over. What's over? Don't scare me like this. He suddenly lunges toward the screen, practically pressing his face against the lens. The State Administration of Foreign Exchange. They temporarily froze the money. I scream out, hysterically. You. They said the source of the funds involves offshore trusts, and we need to pay a bridge tax of $2 million to get everything unfrozen. Otherwise, the entire $50 million will be sent back, and even I'll be blacklisted. $2 million? Zhou Mingguan shrieks in shock. Where on earth am I going to get $2 million? All my money is tied up in investments in real estate. I can't liquidate any cash right now. Mingguan, I'm so tired. I don't even want this $50 million anymore. Let's just let it rot in that account. No, absolutely not. Zhou Mingguan roars, completely losing his mind. That's $50 million. That's our entire future. Our lifeline. How can we just give it up? Of course he can't give it up. That $500,000 loan shark debt and interest is compounding by the day. If he fails to close this deal with me, his boss at the scam compound will chop him into mincemeat. But I don't have the money. I really don't know what else to do. I sob until I'm on the verge of fainting, then abruptly hang up the video call. Extreme high-pressure psychological warfare. It's the most classic play in the pig-butchering scam playbook. Today, I'm serving it right back to him, exactly as it is. Over the next 4 hours, Zhou Mingguan blows up my phone with non-stop calls. I ignore them. Meanwhile, Old K sends over real-time tracking updates. Sister Wan, the other side is in complete chaos. I intercepted their internal communications. This kid is frantically digging through other victims' accounts under his supervisor's name. I sneered. When people are backed into a corner, they lose all sense of reason. To fill that 500,000 yuan hole and chase after that imaginary 50 million yuan commission. Zhou Mingguan's only way out was to take a desperate gamble, embezzling company funds. At 8 o'clock in the evening, with only 4 hours left before the countdown ended, my phone chimed with another sharp text alert. The bank notification read, "Your account ending in 8848 received a transfer of 2 million yuan at 8:02 p.m. 2 million Joran. He actually did it." Looking at that long string of digits, I laughed until tears streamed down my face. In my past life, to scrape together 1 million yuan for him, I sold the old house my parents left me and maxed out every online loan I could find. That agonizing pain of being bled dry, he was finally getting a taste of it himself. On WeChat, Zhou Mingguan sent voice message after voice message, his voice completely hoarse. "Luan, I sent the money. I've bet my entire life on you. Hurry up and pay the tax. Transfer the 50 million yuan to me.
Mingguan, answer me.
Do it them. Do it now." He sounded as if he could already see his future of getting filthy rich. Calmly, I opened my online banking app and transferred the 2 million yuan with a single tap. Adding that to the previous 500,000, that made 2.5 million yuan in total. All of it flowed straight into the frozen account set up by the police task force. Not a single cent of this money would ever make its way back to that evil scam compound. I stood up, walked over to the wardrobe, and pulled out that shirt. The cold fabric brushed against my skin. I raised my phone and took an expressionless selfie in the mirror. No filters, no disguise. Only a pair of eyes filled with deep hatred and mockery. I tapped send. Then I held down the voice message button and said slowly, my voice dripping with contempt, "Zhou Mingguan, is the pig butchering scam fun? We went and got loans from loan sharks, and you even stole your boss's money? How does that feel? I'll gladly accept your 2.5 million. In your next life, open your eyes before you try to scam someone." Voice message sent. Smiling, I tapped lock. I locked my phone. Meanwhile, at this very moment, thousands of miles away, a scam compound in northern Myanmar is going through a brutal, living nightmare. My computer screen lights up. Old sends over a blurry surveillance video. "Beautifully done, Sister Wan. I hacked into their office cameras. I've got a great show for you." The video has no sound, but the sheer brutality of the footage is enough to make anyone's skin crawl. Zhou Mingguan is slumped in his chair, staring blankly at his phone screen, completely paralyzed with shock. He frantically refreshes his messaging app, making call after call in a panic, but it's all in vain. Suddenly the doors kicked wide open. A brutal-looking man, with a scorpion tattooed on his neck, bursts in with a group of armed thugs. That's the compound supervisor, Liba.
Liba 到周明文 by the hair.
Slamming his head hard against the keyboard. On screen, Zhou Mingguan is dragged out to an open space.
Stun guns, steel pipes,
And whips rain down on his body. He rolls around in agonizing pain, swinging at the top of his lungs. his face covered in blood. Stop, please stop. It's that woman. It was that woman who scammed me. Desperate to save his own skin,
Zhou Mingwen house, pointing frantically at the computer screen.
Heads up, Sister Wan. They're getting desperate. They brought in the compound's top hacker team. They're frantically trying to trace your info. I take a slow sip of my red wine. Let them search. The wealthy female identity I faked was just the bait to lure them into my trap anyway. On the surveillance monitor, the hacker slams his finger down on the enter key. They pulled up her real profile.
Shuan. Female.
28 years old, an ordinary employee at some private company, an accountant. Both of her parents are dead, single, with no house and no car to her name, and her bank account balance is less than 10,000 yuan. The supervisor stared at the computer screen, his face turning from livid to a dark, furious purple. Finally, he completely snapped. He suddenly whipped out the pistol from his waist and jammed it right against Zhou Mingwen's head. You got played by a broke mainland loser. And you even threw in 2.5 million yuan of your own.
Zhou Mingwen was so terrified he literally wet his pants.
Slamming his head on the floor, desperately begging for mercy. Shaking with pure rage, the supervisor knocks Zhou Mingwen unconscious with a hard blow from the butt of his gun. Then a voice message from Old Black came through, his voice filled with panic. Sister Wan, these guys have gone completely insane. The supervisor feels like you made a total fool out of him, and he's humiliated. He just put a hit out on you on the dark web. He wants you dead. I calmly set my wine glass down. Perfect. I was actually worried he wouldn't come after me. The hunter and the prey swapped places a long time ago. Early the next morning, my phone lit up with my very first death threat. It was a text message from a spoofed number. Soon-Wan, you think you can actually run? Immediately after, a bloody photo of a dead cat popped up on my screen. I stared coldly at the picture. Cheap tricks like this are absolute child's play compared to the despair I endured in my past life. 5 minutes later, my former colleague's group chat suddenly blew up. Someone using an anonymous burner account started spamming the group with photos. They were all photoshopped, explicit pictures of me. Suwan borrows money and never pays it back. She sells her body. Today's massive scandal. This female accountant will stop at nothing to hook a rich sugar daddy. The group chat went into an absolute frenzy. Oh my god, is that really Suwan? She always looks so innocent and quiet. How is her private life this trashy? That is so disgusting. Hurry up and kick her out of the group. My boss even tagged me directly in the company group chat. Swa, what the hell are you doing? Get your ass to the office right now and sign your resignation papers. Don't ruin the company's reputation. In my past life, it was the exact same cyberbullying, the exact same rumors and lies that drove me to a dead end. Back then, I hid in my rented room, shivering in absolute terror. But this time, I just sit on my sofa, watching these clowns put on their pathetic little show. I don't feel a single thing. King, a message. A friend request from a stranger pops up on my screen. The profile picture is a bloody knife. The verification message reads, "This is Lei Bao. Spit out that 2,500,000 plus interest, or I'll wipe out your entire family." I take a deep breath and pinch my thigh hard. I accept the friend request and immediately begin my performance. With trembling hands, I send a voice message, my voice cracking with fake tears. Stop, please. Please stop sending these. I'll pay you back. I'll give it all back to you. Just please, spare me. Instantly, a voice call comes through. I let it ring 5 times before finally picking up, my voice shaking like a leaf. Hey, you little bitch. How dare you steal my money? Leibo's violent roar explodes through the speaker. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Boss, I was wrong. I just lost my mind for a second. I haven't touched a single cent of the money. It's all still in my account. I wail hysterically, begging for mercy over and over. Cut the crap. Transfer the money back right now. If it's short by even 1 cent, I'll have my men ruin you and sell you off to the streets. I pretend to be scared out of my wits and stammer incoherently. Boss, I'll transfer it. I'll transfer it right away. But because the amount is so large, the bank detected a recent abnormal deposit of 2.5 million. It triggered their risk control, and they froze my card. Right now, money can only go in, but nothing can come out. Were you playing me? Absolutely not. I know a friend who runs an underground bank. He has a specific overseas refund channel. It can bypass regulation and launder the money right out. I'll send you the link. All you need to do on your end is receive it with an overseas account, and the money will hit your account immediately. Silence on the other end of the line. Striking while the iron was hot, I cried and begged. Boss, you guys already found my address. How could I ever dare to lie to you? I just want to stay alive. Please, I beg you, open the link and receive it. I'll initiate the transfer right away. Greed ultimately triumphed over reason. Seeing that the cold, hard cash was about to be recovered, Leibao's guard dropped significantly. He sent a message. I'm warning you, if you dare play any tricks. You dead meat. Yes. Sending it right away. I hung up the phone, wiped away my tears, and a cold sneer played on my lips. I opened the link old K sent me, the one disguised as a refund channel,
and hit send.
This link was an ultimate Trojan horse that I paid old K a whopping 100,000 yuan to customize specifically for the northern Myanmar syndicates. Once clicked, within 10 seconds, all permissions of the recipient's phone, their background data, and even their hidden encrypted ledgers would be instantly laid bare. The fish is finally about to bite this poisoned bait.
The link has been sent.
Boss, just open it and enter a receiving account number. After sending the message, I waited quietly. A minute later, Lei Bao sent a video call invitation. I took a deep breath, adjusted the terrified expression on my face,
And press the answer button.
and the screen lit up. Inside a dimly lit office, Lei Bao sat in his leather chair, his fierce, scarred face contorted in a ruthless grin. He carelessly toyed with a pistol in his hand, and right under his boot was Zhou Mingwen, beaten so badly he was barely recognizable. Zhou Mingwen was covered in blood. One of his eyes was swollen, completely shut. When he saw me, he tried to speak, but only a raspy, choking sound came from his throat. "You worthless bitch, take a good look. This is what happens when you dare to screw with me." Beibo smugly panned his camera around the room, showing me the heavily armed thugs standing guard outside the door. "Now, where is the money? How do we transfer it?" My entire body was shaking violently. I clutched my arms tightly across my chest and sputtered out, "Boss, click on that link first."
A confirmation code should pop up.
Lei Bao scolded coldly.
Picking up another burner phone and opened the link I sent him. All right, I opened it. Now what? I stared intently at my computer screen. In the corner, old K's chat box was flashing frantically with new messages. Trojan successfully installed, gaining full access.
Firewall breached.
Sister Juan, we're in. Watching the lines of green code scrolling down from old K, the fear on my face instantly vanished without a trace. I sat up straight, wiping away my tears, as a cold, mocking smirk slowly crept onto my face. On the other side of the screen, Lei Bao was still staring down at his phone. After waiting a few seconds with no response, he lost his temper and barked. "Why the hell is it just loading? Are you screwing with me?" He snapped his head up, only to meet my cold, mocking gaze. "What are you smiling at?"
Lei Bao froze.
A sudden, instinctive sense of danger washed over him, and he instantly raised his gun, aiming it straight at the screen. "I'm laughing at how stupid you are, Lei Bao." I leaned back in my chair, my voice calm, cold, and composed. There was no trace of my earlier weakness. "You have absolutely no idea. That account I used to receive your money? It's been under Wanjin's surveillance the whole time. That 2.5 million is sitting nice and safe right now, frozen in the state's anti-fraud pool."
Lei Bao's pupils suddenly contracted.
He leaped to his feet. "You're dead." "No, you're the one who's dead." I tapped a few keys on my keyboard. Casting the data K had just intercepted straight onto our shared video call screen. "So, how did that link you just clicked on your work phone feel?"
Lei Bao glanced down at his phone.
The screen had gone completely black. No matter how hard he mashed the buttons, it wouldn't respond. "What did you do? What did you do?" He was finally starting to panic. "Oh, nothing much. I just made a quick copy of the encrypted ledger hidden on your phone. That's all." I looked at the shocking transfer records popping up on my screen and began reading them out, line by line. March 5th. Embezzled 5 million from Platform 3 and transferred it to a private offshore account. April 12th. Double-crossed the neighboring compound, pocketing 20 million and cooking the books to cover it up. With every line I read, the color drained from Lei Bao's face. By the time I finished, he was drenched in a cold sweat, and even the hand holding his gun was shaking violently. In northern Myanmar, double-crossing each other is just business as usual. But betraying the big boss and stealing his money, the punishment for that is a fate worse than death. "You bitch, delete that data right now. Name your price. I'll give you whatever you want." Lei Bao had completely broken down. He screamed like a maniac at his screen. I just stared back at him with a cold, calm smile. "It's too late, Lei Bao." What do you mean by that?"
Lei Bao lost all control.
In the background of our video call, the massive computer screen behind him suddenly flashed to life. Thankik used a Trojan horse to seize full control of their office's main server. Displayed clearly on the screen was the encrypted ledger, the very evidence that would get him brutally killed. Right next to it was a screenshot of an email, marked Sent. The recipient's name read, "The General." I just bundled up this entire ledger and sent it directly to the real big boss behind this compound. I imagine he's already mobilizing his armed guards to come and settle the score with you. "I'll kill you." Driven mad, Lei Bao fired 2 wild shots straight at the screen. I coldly cut through his pathetic, useless rage. "Oh, and by the way, today, when you clicked that link just now, you didn't just expose your ledgers. You also leaked your exact physical IP address. I've just posted a satellite map on the main screen. A flashing red dot is locked right onto your building. Using this IP address, the local police have teamed up with the military to surround you completely. Did you really think You were the one hunting me? From the second you added my WeChat, you've been walking straight into my trap. Leiboss slumped back into his chair, completely lifeless, with the big boss's hitmen closing in from one side, and the police surrounding him on the other. He had absolutely nowhere left to run. Oh, right. There's just one last little thing. I stared at the desperate man on my screen and smirked. When you clicked that link, my friend asked you to crack the security keys to your private offshore accounts. That $80 million you embezzled for your retirement was completely wiped out 10 minutes ago. I paused on purpose, watching him snap his head up, his face twisted in utter disbelief. Every single cent has been flagged as stolen loot and transferred to the National Anti-Fraud Center's offshore frozen accounts. So, Leipao, how does it feel to lose absolutely everything?
No. Leibo shrieked.
His voice was dripping with pure, unadulterated despair, bitter resentment, and useless regret. He slammed his hands onto the keyboard like a madman, trying desperately to log into his offshore accounts and save his money. But the screen showed nothing but a giant flashing error message. He was completely locked out. Right then, a deafening siren began to wail through the video feed. Then came a barrage of rapid gunfire and the thunderous blast of exploding grenades. The big boss's hit squad had arrived. Through the thick, choking smoke, heavily armed mercenaries kicked down the doors and stormed in. Backed into a corner, Leibo completely lost his mind. He lunged forward, grabbing Zhou Mingguan, who was still groaning on the floor, and dragged him up to use as a human shield. Let me go! You're the one who stole the money. You're the one who got us all killed. These two partners in crime, these monsters who bled countless innocent victims dry of their hard-earned money, completely tore off their masks when facing death. The line went dead. I sat in front of my computer in dead silence, staring at the pitch-black screen. I let out a long, heavy sigh. It's finally over. The blood feud from my past life and the bitterness of this one have vanished into thin air at this very moment. A few days later, a piece of news shocked the entire country, instantly skyrocketing to the top of every trending chart. I sat on my couch, quietly watching the television screen. On the screen, a massive chartered plane was shown landing at the international airport. The cabin door opened, and row after row of suspects, wearing black hoods, with their hands cuffed behind their backs and feet in shackles, were escorted off the plane by heavily armed SWAT officers. The camera panned over one of the figures leading the line. Although his head was covered by a hood, I recognized him in a heartbeat. The other one next to him, with thick bandages wrapped around his shoulder, was Zhou Mingguan. Word has it that when the big boss's hitmen stormed in to wipe them out, the Dream Task Force of SWAT officers breached the door at that exact moment. These two managed to survive, but they were critically injured in the crossfire and captured alive by the police on the spot. What awaits them now is the harshest punishment under the law, and a lifetime behind bars. Miss Su, thank you for your cooperation. Captain Lee from the local cyber police unit sat across from me, handing me a document. Since you acted as our confidential informant in this case and worked closely with the police the entire time, the $2.5 million you lured out of them not only became key evidence for their conviction, but also helped us trace and bust their entire money pool. Captain Lee stood up, giving me a solemn salute. We have already returned the full $2.5 million to the other victims, who were left penniless, as per protocol. In light of your outstanding contribution, the Municipal Bureau has decided to award you the Medal of Civic Heroism. I quickly stood up, returned his salute, and accepted the heavy medal with both hands. Its golden gleam shone brilliantly under the sunlight. Thank you, Captain Lee. I only did what I had to do. After sending Captain Lee off, I opened my phone. My ex-Corley's group chat has gone completely dead silent. The boss was dragged off by the police for tax evasion. I didn't reply to a single person. The studio, I just tapped leave group without a second thought. Those toxic people and their drama don't deserve another second of my life. And for OK, because of his crucial help in taking down that offshore scam syndicate, the National Cybersecurity Department made an exception and recruited him directly. Now, he is officially a legitimate officer of the state. Warm sunlight streams through the French windows, filling the living room. It feels so incredibly warm. I take a deep, long breath of fresh air. In this second life, I didn't just save myself. I also saved countless families from the brink of absolute ruin. God, this feeling is amazing. With the international fraud case finally put to rest, I stand in front of the familiar office tower, taking one last look at the finance office that had kept me trapped for so long. My finger gently taps send on my resignation email without a single ounce of regret. To everyone else, this job was the perfect picture of stability and status. But only I knew the truth. The endless, suffocating spreadsheets, the soul-crushing corporate grind, and the toxic rumors and exclusion that swallowed me alive in my past life. They were all like a suffocating, inescapable web, wrapping around my neck until I couldn't even breathe. But now, justice has been served. My revenge is complete. The truth is finally out. I refuse to spend another second trapped in this tiny cubicle, letting them waste away my life. Wrapping up my resignation was quick and effortless. The moment I step out of that building, the warm sunlight hits my shoulders, and I let out a long, deep sigh of relief. I have never felt this light in my entire life. I had personally taken down a brutal romance scam syndicate, completely uprooting an entire offshore fraud network. Once I packaged my story and shared it online, it blew up instantly, drawing massive attention. My inbox flooded with desperate pleas for help. Housewives who had their entire life savings drained, single women trapped in devastating romance scams, and young girls almost blinded by sweet talk and lies. Their utter helplessness and terror? I understand it better than anyone. One thought became crystal clear in my heart. I had to turn my experience fighting scams into a shield to protect them. Without a single doubt, I took the lead and built a completely voluntary, non-profit anti-fraud support team. I named the team Daybreak.
It meant tearing through the darkness,
Shattering the lies, and shining a light for every woman lost in those emotional and financial traps. Those who were scared, hopeless, and trapped. I wanted to tear open a path of light for them, to help them find their way back to a brand new life. Answering questions online, putting together anti-scam handbooks, recording educational videos, and going straight into communities to raise awareness. My days were packed, but incredibly fulfilling. Every time we helped someone see through a scam, every time we stopped them from sending their hard-earned money, and every time I heard a heartfelt, "Thank you," I was so close to falling for it. I truly felt, yes, this is my purpose in life. Before I knew it, 6 months had passed. Time just flew by. Inside the city center's largest auditorium, the lights were dazzling. Every single seat was taken. The crowd was filled with people who had traveled just to hear us speak. This was the final stop of Daybreak's anti-fraud tour. Our grand finale. I stood right in the center of the stage, bathed in the warm glow of a brilliant spotlight. The light wrapped around me, illuminating the two bold words on the backdrop behind me. Daybreak. Looking out at the crowd, looking into all those sincere, eager eyes, my voice remained steady, clear and powerful, echoing through every corner of the auditorium. Protecting your hard-earned money means protecting your dignity, your sense of security, and your entire life. The moment the words left my mouth, thunderous applause erupted. It was passionate, relentless, sweeping through the entire hall. As if on cue, everyone stood up, clapping with all their might. Their eyes were shining with hope. Some had tears welling up in their eyes. Some waved enthusiastically. Others nodded in deep agreement. And in that applause, you could hear the profound relief of finally seeing the light. There was deep, heartfelt gratitude, but even more, a fierce determination to take back control of my own life. Standing under the spotlight, I looked out at the bustling crowd, watching the words Daybreak shine brilliantly. A wave of warmth filled my chest. The darkness had been shattered, and the dawn had finally come. Once the lecture ended, the crowd slowly dispersed. A young girl in a floral dress, with red, swollen eyes, timidly walked up to me. She gently tugged on the hem of my jacket. "Sister Sue." The moment she spoke, her tears started falling. "What's wrong?" "Hey, don't cry. Take your time." I handed her a tissue. I just got my heart broken," she choked out. "A few days ago, I met an investment banker on a dating app. He was so sweet to me, always checking in. And he even offered to help me invest, saying he wanted to plan our future together." The girl sobbed. "But after listening to your lecture today, I'm so scared." "Sister Sue, if someone treats me that well in the future, how am I supposed to tell if they're a scammer?" Looking into her eyes, which were filled with confusion and fear, I gently patted her on the shoulder. She didn't say another word, her tears just keeping rolling down silently. I turned to look out the window. The streets were empty. In the occasional breeze rustled the leaves in the quiet alley. I turned back to look at her and said, "Let me tell you the honest truth." She looked up, her eyes red and puffy. "True love is about real, steady companionship. It's about building a life together and facing life's challenges side by side. A man who loves you will never expect you to throw away your entire life savings just to bail him out. Nor will he ever push you to take out online loans or sell your home." She opened her mouth to speak, but closed it again. I continued. "Think about it. If a man truly loves you, would he really let you take a risk like that? Would he leave you without even a single way out?" She shook her head, and the tears started falling all over again. "So..." I paused for a moment. "Stop believing everything that comes out of his mouth. What should you believe? His actions." She wiped her eyes, her voice trembling. "But I really can't tell anymore. When he's good to me, he's absolutely wonderful. But the moment I doubt him, he accuses me of breaking his heart. What am I supposed to do?" I looked at her. A girl in her early 20s, as thin as a sheet of paper, with eyes completely bloodshot. "If you really can't tell, I said, let me teach you a trick. She tensed up, holding her breath.
What is it?
I leaned in close to her ear
And whispered a few words.
She froze. A few seconds passed. She blinked. The corners of her mouth starting to curl up. She let out a gasp, tears still wet on her face. Sister Sue, that is so wicked of you. I smiled, too. Wicked or not, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that it works. She thought about it and smiled again. If he really had 500,000, would he really need to make me borrow it for him? Exactly, I said. See? You already knew the answer. She nodded. Using a tissue to wipe her face clean, she stood up. Thank you, Sister Sue. I know exactly what to do now. I walked her to the door. The autumn sun shone down on her as she turned back to wave at me. Then she turned and walked briskly out of the alley. I watched her figure until she vanished around the corner. The alley fell quiet. The breeze brought over the scent of sweet osmandostas, faint and sweet. I looked down and touched the metal on my chest. It was something I earned in my past life. I brought it into this lifetime too. Its bronze surface, kept warm by my own body heat. I remembered what I was like in my past life. Also in my early 20s. Also scammed out of every single penny. Caught outside the police station, crying my eyes out. Back then, I felt like my whole world had collapsed, having no idea where to go. But this life is different. I have experience now. I have better judgment, and the power to give others a helping hand. That girl is gone. Now, whether she truly took my words to heart, I don't know. But at least she left with a smile on her face. There was light back in her eyes. And that's enough. Another gentle breeze swept past, making the scent of osmanthus a little stronger. I turned around and walked back inside, closing the door behind me. Living life over again. Redemption isn't something achieved in a single moment. It's built of afternoons just like this, and in one person after another who needs a helping hand.
This is what doing the right thing is all about. For anyone, a second chance at life is entirely worth it.
After the girl left, I had just finished packing up my lecture materials when my phone buzzed with a friend request from a stranger. The profile picture was a familiar high-end corporate style.
The request message read, "Teacher,
I was just at your lecture.
I'd love to learn more about anti-fraud from you."
My fingers froze. This tone, this carefully crafted persona. It was the exact same playbook Zhou Mingwen used back then. The second I accepted the request, a message popped up instantly. Teacher Sue, I work in the financial industry, and I've always kept an eye on anti-fraud myself. I didn't expect there to be so many scams in real life. I really admire what you do. A textbook pig-butchering scam opening. First, they build up a fake persona. Then, they draw you in closer. And finally, they lead you into investing. I didn't call him out. I just calmly replied with a simple, thanks. Keeping a tight grip on your wallet is the best defense. That night, old Kai sent an encrypted message. Sister Ann, the IP of the person who just added you is in a new compound in northern Myanmar. A branch of Leibo old gang has targeted you. They want to copy the same scam to get back at you. I leaned back on the couch and chuckled. In my past life, I was the lamb. In this life, I am the hunter. Since they're delivering themselves right to my door as prey, I have them raised not to take them. Over the next 3 days, the other party put on their act, right on schedule, sharing photos of high-end office spaces, showing off fake investment returns, and showering me with warm, fake concern. He claimed to be Chenza, also an investment banking executive. I stayed completely cold the entire time. Occasionally, I'd reply with just a single word, deliberately testing his patience. On the 4th day, Chenze finally lost his patience. He threw out the bait. One, I have access to an exclusive private equity channel. The principal is guaranteed, and the returns are high. I only bring along people I trust. Do you try it out? Do you want to try it out? I stared at the screen and typed my reply. I've been scammed by a con artist before. I'm still pretty traumatized, unless you prove your sincerity first. Shenza immediately pressed. How do I prove it? I genuinely want to help you. I copied the exact words from back then and sent them over word for word. First, transfer 500,000 to my card as a deposit. Once I believe you, I'll invest with you. There was a dead silence on the other end of the line for a full 10 minutes. Old Sync is monitoring. Sister Ann, they're tearing each other apart over there. They say you're the one who played Layball last time, and they want to double-cross you and take you down. My lips curled into a smirk. Let them try me. Ten replied almost instantly. Striking a generous tone, he said, "It's just 500,000. I trust you. Transfer it now." I immediately transferred the money straight to the police's anti-fraud monitoring account. At the same time, I pinged Old K to trigger our backup trap. If they're bold enough to hack my account, then I'll strip them of absolutely everything they have. Sure enough, the moment the transfer went through, my account was hit by a massive wave of hacker attacks. This was the double trap Old K and I had set up in advance. Layer 1. Make my account look completely defenseless, luring them to breach it. Layer 2. The second they break in, we reverse track their device information, their entire syndicate's contact list, their scam scripts, and their entire money trail.
in less than 30 minutes.
Old Can sent over screen after screen of data. Sister Juan, it's done! This new scam compound has over 200 people, and they're currently running over 300 pig butchering scams. Their victims are scattered across the entire country. Staring at the data, my eyes went ice cold. These monsters might have changed their disguises, but they'll never change their predatory nature. I did report them to the cyber police right away. First, I had one more thing to do. At night, using our Daybreak anti-scam system, I personally took down 2 massive scam dens that had ruined countless lives, saving countless families from destruction. Old K texted me, "Sister Juan, you are a straight-up legend in the anti-fraud community now." I smiled and replied, "I just don't want anyone else to suffer the way I did in my past life." When media outlets flooded my inbox with interview requests, I turned every single one of them down. I have no interest in becoming an influencer. I just want to quietly do the work and stop these scams. I expanded the Daybreak anti-scam team, recruiting more muleteers who had been scammed themselves and who genuinely wanted to help others. We went into local neighborhoods, schools and corporate offices, holding free seminars, handing out guides, and offering one-on-one support. The toxic rumors and slander that once nearly broke me, and the workplace bullying I endured, had long since vanished. And as for the people who used to mock me, the people who once shunned me, now only feel shame when they see me on the news. Every now and then, I visit my parents' graves and whisper, "Mom, Dad." I didn't let them break me, and I've helped so many others. A gentle breeze blows by, feeling just like their reply. A very special letter arrived at our anti-fraud studio. I opened it up. The handwriting was neat and filled with deep gratitude. It was from a young girl, just like when I was at my lowest. She was cleaned out of all her savings by a pig butchering scam and nearly took her own life. But then she saw my lectures and videos and found the courage to go to the police. Not only did she get some of her money back, but she also overcame her depression. We have saying, the very last line of the letter read, "Sister Sue, thank you for showing me that even if we fall into the abyss, we can still crawl back out and become our own light." I carefully put the letter away and looked out the studio window. My rebirth began with revenge and ended with redemption. I picked up a pen and wrote a single line in our team manual. There is no such thing as a free lunch. Love and safety are things we must protect ourselves. My phone rang. It was an invitation for another lecture. I smiled and picked up. Yes, we will be there on time. The road ahead is long, and the fight against fraud never ends. My story goes on. I had just finished a community anti-fraud seminar when Old K's encrypted call came through. His voice was incredibly heavy. "Sister Juan, something happened. Before Liban and Jomingam were caught, they secretly handed over some of their remaining overseas funds to a ghost on the dark web. This guy specializes in pig butchering scams, and he has the blood of dozens of people on his hands." My fingers tightened. Ghost is after me. Not just you, but every single volunteer in our Daybreak team. He put a bounty out on the dark web. He's offering $10 million for your head, and he wants to destroy our entire anti-fraud platform. Just then, an anonymous text popped up on my phone. It was a picture of a bloody anti-fraud banner being burned with a message. "You cut off my cash flow? Now I'll make your life a living hell." I stared out the window at the darkening sky. A cold, sharp smile curled on my lips. In my past life, I was afraid of the dark. But in this life, I am the light that shatters it. After the threat went public, panic spread through the studio. What was even stranger was that the security plan I had just agreed on with the police was anticipated perfectly by them in just 30 minutes. Even my travel routes were blocked in advance. Old Pie stared at the back-end data, his face grim. "Sister Juan, we have a mole among us. They are getting all of our plans in real time." I immediately screened the recently joined volunteers, and my eyes fell on a quiet boy named Lin Mo. He joined us half a month ago as a victim of a pig butchering scam. He was always hardworking and never missed a day of work. No one suspected him. Keeping my composure, I intentionally leaked fake info right in front of him. Tonight at 10 p.m., I'll be going to the warehouse alone to move the anti-fraud files. Late that night, as expected, Lin Mo secretly pulled out his phone and sent a location using a hidden app. The moment his screen lit up, I appeared right behind him. My voice was cold as ice. "You're no victim. You're a mole sent by Ghost." Caught red-handed, Lin Mo trembled with fear, but confessed immediately. "Ghost ordered me to spy on you, as long as I could get proof of you going out alone. So he sent someone to silence me. He promised to give me 1 million once it was done." I looked at him and said calmly, "I can let you off the hook, but you have to do one thing for me. Send the message to Ghost, telling him I got scared and ran away, and that I'm willing to return the 2 million in stolen cash I recovered. Ask him to meet in person at a designated spot to make the trade."
Lin Mo didn't dare to resist.
He did exactly as he was told. Old K was puzzled. "Sis, Are you really going to risk meeting him in person? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I prepped my recording equipment and tracker. He was to kill me, and I want to wipe out his last stronghold. It's only fair. Late at night, the abandoned logistics park was shrouded in thick fog. An unmarked black van slowly rolled in. I knew the real predator was finally showing up. The door slid open, and a man wearing a skull mask stepped out. He was towering, and radiating a cold, murderous aura. Suwan, you've got guts. Ghost's voice was electronically altered, sounding raspy and grating. I brought the cash. Let Limo go. And we'll call it even. I pretended to be calm, while quietly pressing the button on my tracker. Ghost sneered. Even? You destroyed 2 of my compounds. Only your death will satisfy my boss. He waved his hand, and 4 thugs armed with knives rushed out from the shadows. But I was one step ahead. I slammed my hand down on the alarm. Instantly, sirens pierced the night sky. Dozens of SWAT officers closed in from all sides, their high-powered flashlights illuminating the entire compound. Ghost's face fell instantly. Who didn't unjarn the things? He bolted, only to be tripped up by the roadblocks we'd set up. He was pinned to the ground on the spot. The moment his mask was ripped off, I froze. He was actually Thunderstorm's former personal bodyguard. Once Ghost was finally caught, the police followed the clues to dig deeper. They completely wiped out the syndicate operating along the northern Myanmar border. A massive 3-country pig-butchering scam ring. 17 core ringleaders were arrested. More than 500 trapped victims were rescued, and over $1 billion in illicit funds was frozen. At the commendation ceremony, I stood in the center of the stage, holding the honorary certificate for National Anti-Fraud Pioneer. Below the stage, volunteers from the Dawn team held up banners, while countless former victims clapped with tears in their eyes.
长存力砸在你手指了，在数啊。
You single-handedly changed the lives of countless people. Looking at all those smiling faces in the crowd, I whispered, I'm no hero. I just didn't want anyone else to go through the despair I once felt. After the ceremony, warm sunlight flooded the streets. My phone lit up with endless new notifications. Invitations for anti-fraud lectures from all over the country, piling up one after another. They just kept coming. I smiled and replied, book them all. The fight against fraud never stops, and we will never back down. That evening, after the ceremony ended, I didn't go straight back to the studio. Instead, I walked down to the riverbank alone. The cool night breeze blew the damp river air onto my face. Watching the boats cruise back and forth on the water, I suddenly remembered the night I took those pills in my past life. It was by this same river, under the exact same night sky. Back then, I was consumed by utter despair, feeling like the entire world had abandoned me. Just then, soft footsteps sounded behind me. A group of young people wearing the Dawn anti-fraud volunteer uniforms, holding small glowing light boards in their hands, stood quietly nearby and waved at me. We were the volunteers from my team, along with a few victims who had once messaged me for help. I know this isn't the end. As long as scams exist, the fight will never stop. And I'll keep walking forward, guided by this little glimmer of light, until the darkness is completely gone. Until everyone can finally feel safe to embrace true love and life.